5 years to who he is now. Obviously, expectations are high for him, but I don't think it's quite as heavy lies the crown as someone like Muhammad Light and Riley, where if they don't win, you immediately go, oh, they're washed. Whereas if
Right.
Ruben doesn't win now, you're like, all right, whatever. It's been a while. He's been kind of quiet for the last couple of years, but he just hasn't won in the last few years. He's still been showing up at the World Finals, as you guys can see in the top left-hand side there.
Yeah, it really is impressive. I mean, I feel like personally I don't give Ruben enough credit. This man has been playing this game for so long, probably just as long as I have, and he's still playing against the top players in the world every single year, and he's still showing up, and he's still performing very well. So big props to Ruben. He's a grinder. Obviously he has been practicing in the off season, and let's see if he can, kind of take down the kind of the rookie of the season here in Yoru.
Yeah, Yoru yesterday, he had a great 3-set win over Samuel Basoto, as you talked about. He also had a really nice win over Riley, so it was back-to-back 3-set wins over number 2 and number 3 in the world at one point, and number 2 in the world right now in Riley. So as you mentioned, Juicy, this is no slouch. This is a guy that really showed up yesterday, and Ruben's got a tall order in front of him. So looking like GY bottom of the screen. We talked about this quite a bit yesterday. It's the new graveyard with no NATO, which for you is very odd. And now we have that Evo Witch with the graveyard, and that Boss Bandit is doing some work along with the Earthquake. Maybe not quite as much as Yoru wanted, but now we have the Witch on tower. That Boss Bandit is very healthy.
Yeah, and here comes the Hog Rider with her as well. Barbarian Barrel to try and deal with the Boss Bandit, and he does have the Tornado. That's going to save him a bit, especially with the Evo Knight dropping down, and you can see Ruben immediately shaking his head. He probably was hoping for the non-Tornado version of this deck, but the Tornado going to be a massive asset for defending against this Hog Rider.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure playing many versions of Splash Yard over the years, between one building and a NATO and the Ice Wiz, there's just so many great ways to control that Hog. And you see right there, Yoru doing the right thing. Take one hit on either side. Don't overspend. Let's try to get back on offense. And he is playing very aggressive with Graveyard here in single elixir.
Yeah, Cannon's going to be taken out by the poison, but it did get some nice value. Firecracker going to end up getting hit by the poison here. That will make her susceptible to the Barbarian Barrel. There's the Bar Barrel and a Tornado as well to pull the Hog to the King Tower yet again. And Yoru is just continuing to extend his damage advantage.
Yeah, he's, we're seeing people play like hyper aggressive with Royal Giant now, and this is one of the more aggressive plays I've seen with Graveyard.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty much going for a Graveyard whenever he has a Witch on the board, except for this time apparently. He's just going to let this Witch kind of run its course. Maybe he's happy with the damage that he's accumulated so far, and Witch not quite able to take out the Firecracker. Maybe you give Ruben a chance to attack here.
So NATO. Ooh, I was going to say the NATO missed, I think, because the Skeleton pushed the Hog just one tile. So a bit of a missed NATO there from Yoru. Still in the lead, 22-04 to 16 and some change with that with the poison ticking in.
Yeah, Yoru's
a great counter.
Yeah, Yoru's still up with quite a bit of damage, but Ruben needs as many of those sneaky Hog hits as he can get. So he's going for another one right now. Boss Bandit going to dash into the Evo Witch. With the Tombstone on the board, the Evo Witch will heal herself back up to full HP. Tornado on the Hog, and Yoru has enough for a Graveyard. I would not be surprised if I saw it drop down. Nope, he decides to go for the poison yet again. Playing kind of similar to how Muhammad Light might in a situation like this. He's up damage. He's just going to play the poison, continue his lead, and here comes the Graveyard to apply pressure.
And now a decent push coming in on that right-hand side. Hog in front of the Boss Bandit this time around. Going to need those Skellies to tank that Boss Bandit. Bar Barrel comes in, and it's a pretty great matchup for Yoru, and the synergy of this deck especially is working out. I mean, the Tombstone giving HP to the Witch, obviously the Graveyard giving HP to the Witch, the NATO coming in perfectly with that Ice Wiz, the Tombstone tanking for the Bar Barrel. I mean, this is a tough matchup for Ruben.
Hog does hit, but he predicts the Firecracker at the bridge to prevent any extra damage from coming through. Evil Firecracker does get some chip on the tower, and you can see Ruben disgusted with the fact that he was making some outplays at the end. He's getting the damage that he needed, but just not quite enough, losing by only 50 HP in game number 1.
In this game number 2, now that he's down 1, Yoru on the other side kind of ran a very similar start to his day in... Oh, nope, that's just a little bit farther down.
Miner versus Drill, and Yoru has a Cannoneer. Very interesting. GoldenEye does not come down to stop the Goblin from hitting. So we see a pretty solid damage advantage go to Ruben right away here, especially with the Cannoneer just simply starting with less HP than the Princess.
Yeah, it was Yoru that started off with a bridge spam deck with Evo, Ram Rider, and Barbs, and then went to RG, and then went to Mortar. So now kind of going with Mortar in the second game, but a change up from what we saw him run yesterday. He ran a very interesting Mortar deck with the Skeleton Dragons that actually worked out. Only time that we saw that.
And seems like we're just seeing another variation of this Drill Goblin Hut Guards Berserker deck that has for some reason just become like the new standard for Drill in this tournament. Very strange.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can break it down a little bit more analytically afterwards, and you can, you can use the time now in the rest of this game to think about what it is about this deck that all works so well together. But as of right now, this is going to be, look here, it's not a horrible matchup for Mortar, but I was just going to say that is one of the most frustrating things that can happen as a Mortar player is that Evo Bomber, and with Ruben with already an 1100 HP lead, this is going to be a mountain to climb for Yoru with Mortar, Miner, and some spam.
I think that's something... I don't know. This is an interesting situation. I was going to say maybe Yoru should be switching lanes, but I actually changed my mind. Since Ruben doesn't have a big spell, the last card is most likely arrows. I think that he should kind of stack up units to the right-hand side, use his lightnings to try and gain some advantage back, defend the Goblin Drills with the Gold Knight and the spam, and then counter push with the Mortar same lane. He just has to really be careful for that Evo Bomber once it becomes back in cycle here.
Yeah, I like all that. I think that's a really good point. And as you can see already, Ruben trying to get back to that Bomber that did do so much damage, cycled back on the right-hand side, so he's still got one more cycle to go through. There's the Evo Snowball coming in. Pretty well timed there from Ruben. Does get just a hair of damage out of it, 595. There's the other Bomber coming down. Maybe a high lightning here to take care of the Doctor and the Bomber. And he does, which is pretty good. Gets a little bit of damage from the monster making its way through.
Surprised to not see GoldenEye dash, and the Berserker does come down to make sure the Mortar Evo does not lock in the tower. And now we see another Drill coming out from Ruben. I really like the idea to play the log first, making it so that first Goblin doesn't get damage and dodging the pre-snowball. And the nice Golden Knight here as well. It's going to clean up everything, not quite getting to the tower.
Gonna say that's a juicy Golden Knight ability. Does take care of that Evo Bomber. 489 remaining. Snowball comes in. Goblin will get on tower if we don't get a double drop. There's the Goblin Gang. 435 as Yoru still tries to chip away with his Miner. 435 against 1305. 90 seconds remain here in overtime. Ruben with a firm lead, looking like we will go to game number 3, but anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm still fairly confident that Yoru could make this defense work and make this comeback. With no big spell and an Evo Mortar, and with his lighting, it's very possible. Gold Knight on the counter push, bats up high, Gobstein ability is impossible. Spear Gobs, and I'm assuming we're going to see another Mortar. No Gold Knight dash though, and the Drill is inbound immediately. And the log's out of cycle.
Big miss on that Golden Knight. And I was going to say, I think he just got a little aggressive with that log. He misses the Golden Knight ability, then sends the log, and that makes it so he can... That was running it for a few days. That was popular. Obviously, I knew about that. Why do you think Goblinstein is making a slight comeback?
I think that Gobstein's making a bit of a comeback here, specifically in duels, probably because there is a limited supply of good big spells you want to use. I think that Gobstein does a great job of supplementing a big spell, especially if you are using something like Earthquake, just to get a lot of DPS down on a lane and kind of clean stuff up that you maybe don't have a fireball or poison for.
All right, so here we go. Game number 3, Inferno Tower coming, or excuse me, Inferno Dragon coming out here for Yoru. We saw the ID come out maybe just 1 or 2 other times yesterday, a card that is not super popular in the meta.
Interesting. So we have a Ruben with the mortar deck that we saw Yoru use very recently in. Yoru probably with a Mega Knight, Firecracker, and potentially a Hog Rider in this deck since we're seeing the Firecracker. Yep.
And you called it, Juice. Perfectly placed Mega Knight there. Going to clean up the push, distract the mortar. Snowball comes in just in time, and now Ruben with the over-aggression is really paying for it. You imagine Yoru is going to let these goblins do their work on Ruben's side of the map, and now Ruben gets a mortar connection. Should get 4 shots, I think.
4 shots.
Guard.
But the guard is going to prevent that. Interesting. I like the decision-making from Yoru there to, you know, he realized he got his damage. He realized he was down a little bit of elixir. He defends against the Gob Gang, which is the larger threat. He lets the mortar get a couple shots, and now he takes his elixir advantage to go for the Hog Earthquake. But the mortar does get 1 hit here as well. Pretty tough matchup, it seems, for Ruben here, especially with that Earthquake.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of responses, and it does feel like one of those matches where, you know, Ruben is going to get damage, but at what cost, you know?
Right.
And I guess we'll just have to see as Yoru is going to be able to probably defend, take a little bit of damage using his tower HP, and then maybe just straight up overpower Ruben and his defense here. So we'll see as this game goes on, but these beefy units causing problems already. Evo Mortar not going to get a hit. Oh, it does. Wow, it retargeted for 1 second. Unit fell off the board, got that 1 shot in, and that's huge for Ruben. Now a decent counter push.
Evo Snowball going to make quick work of that, but I think that's a win for Ruben there to force out the Evo Snowball on defense. I don't see how he defends if we see a Mega Knight, Boss Bandit, Hog, Earthquake, Evo Snowball type of push. So I do like that play of the Evo Bats just to bait that out, and all of a sudden this game's closer than I thought it would be. Wow.
Earthquake coming in to clean up that gang. Really nice value Earthquake there.
And a pretty minor to pull everything back across the river, allowing the Hog to get targeted as well as taking out the Firecracker at the same time. Great play from Ruben, but he's still down damage, and this Boss Bandit is still alive and kicking.
90 seconds remain. Boss Bandit is alive. Earthquake comes through on the tower. Second Ice Wiz has to come down to soak that Boss Bandit. Now protected by the gang just in case that Boss Bandit would have taken out the Ice Wizard.
Miner trying to distract the Mega Knight to get the Spear Gods locking in the tower, but the Mega Knight's just going to make quick work of that, and now we see a very, very strong counter push with the Evo Mega Knight, Firecracker, Hog Rider, but we have the Evo Bats down, and once again, the Barbarian Barrel, no, but the Hog gets the hit.
Yeah, Ruben had the right idea there. Pull everything back, let the Hog go through first, but just a little bit more elixir spent than he would have liked, or a little bit less elixir in the tank than he needed.
Wait a second.
Still has a decent counter push coming in. There's the Snowball. Hog trying to come in. Juicy, that's going to do it. That's too much.
Oh my gosh. The Earthquake dropped down, but the Lightning does as well, and Ruben takes it before the final tick of the Earthquake can come through. Ruben with the celebration, making it happen, taking down